What's up, guys? Welcome back to episode number 2 with AB Investments. I've missed you guys very much throughout the long weekend, hopefully the extra long weekend. Uh, Hopefully the feeling is mutual, and let's get started with this. So this video is basically about the overall, like the macroeconomic of things that are happening around you and what you expect tomorrow. Last week, or a little bit over last week, I've reported to you, I made a post about April 9th, April 10th. Look at the SPY and the SP 500, S&P 500 levels. Look at the levels back then, which was around $413 and some change. And do with that info as you see fit, or as you will. If you know, you know. If you remember that phrase, if you don't, go to the community tab and see it, or on my Twitter and find it, and you'll see it there. But you've seen this week, especially today and yesterday, before the CPI data's come out, and this is a monthly thing, you see the Fed members start coming out and speak. And I've always said there's nothing more than that I hate about the market. Like literally, there's nothing more than that, besides naked shorting, of course, and synthetics and this bullshit. But there's nothing more that I hate than that, because it's blatant, like blatantly pumping and dumping markets in front of everybody's face. It's like, and it's wild that I'm one of the only few that are saying something about that, or even that it even has to be a case. The fact that before datas or FOMC meetings happen, which is coming up in May 2nd, which we'll talk about in just a bit, the fact that Fed members could come out ahead of time and say things to perhaps pump the markets or spook the markets, and those things don't happen on the day of the meeting, it makes no sense. Why have a meeting if everybody's going to come out gun-ho and speak about whatever they want to speak and affect the market's trading style? Which tells me is, if I'm a friend of any of these Fed members, all I need him to say is, if I'm one of those Kenny G's or Elon Musk's, all you need to happen is for any of those Fed members' friends, and get them and confirm to them, like, hey, perhaps if this is the case, allegedly, all that needs to happen is I just gotta be friends with one of the Fed members and hope that they give me some heads up that, hey, guess what? I'm gonna go ahead and say this today or tomorrow in the market. So go ahead, take a position in a broad market, especially in the S&P 500 or in the SPY. Just tell me what you're gonna say if I want to be a friend of the Fed member. And the sad part is, that is the case. You got a lot of people who know that these things are going to be said ahead of time, and history speaks for itself. It's not like, that's just an allegation or allegedly or whatever. No, you can even go all the way back to 2008 if you want. Back in 2008, you had all the entire Congress, if without missing one, whether Republican or Democratic, you had the entire Congress knowing about ahead of time that, hey, that is going to happen to the market. So they were all given a little window to get out, to cash out before everybody else got slaughtered. And the same thing happened in 2020, when even the chairman of the Federal Reserve did this, also was on the same thing, when they were all selling throughout the blackout phase. And those things get swept under the carpet. Why? Because no media that is under control of the same individuals that we're against is going to come out and make a big case about it, except word of mouth that we are spreading with each other, which is not going to go further than an actual piece that is being reported to the masses on Fox News or CNN or whatnot. Anywho, the fact that the judge, the federal member that came out today and said one thing, I don't think, he didn't say it's not, see the art of manipulation and deception? I don't think that the Fed rate hikes is what caused the banks that defaulted to default. And this is exactly the same tone that we've heard from similar individuals that said this before any banks defaulted in general. So now that tomorrow the CPI data comes out, you're going to have such a volatile, crazy crazy up and down major indexes, and there's big room for you to be making money. How you should already know. If you don't know, learn on that. Um, Understand the value of what these, and this is why I come through and try to tell everybody as far as what these individuals do. Like when this member of the Fed speak like this, basically they're speaking in a negative manner, which means you go look in the market, you can, without even looking at it, you can expect to see red. And of course, since this was a bullish sentiment, it's translated as bullish sentiment, you've seen the green markets today and you've seen the green markets yesterday, which is prepping you for what tomorrow? Time will tell and we will see. However, from tomorrow and after, most likely I'll give you my simple predictions. Tomorrow you're going to have some sort of report that inflation is getting better and better. It is down another 1.1, 0.2%, but we are still way higher than the 2% that we are after, because we're still in the sixes. So we're still so far away, so we need to still go after it, tackle the inflation, and we need to hike rates. When they say this tomorrow in the reports, you're going to have, before they say that they're going to hike rates or even mention anything about it, because that's going to be decided in May 2nd, May 3rd in the FOMC meeting. So they'll leave that play for then. But for now, they will keep the speculation going because the CPI is like this and inflation is not met, but it's getting better. That part is getting better. Watch, the markets are going to be pumping throughout. Not even moments later. But because it's not there yet, we will most likely, the Feds will most likely go ahead and hike rates to tackle inflation. It will be Fed members saying stuff like this, like giving out statements. And when they say stuff like this, what are you going to see? The same sentiment that was just moments ago up is going to be down. And who benefits from this? Market makers, because they get to burn options and people off the options chain like crazy. This is where your part of being a fundamental trader comes in. Fundamental doesn't mean you're playing in a fundamental world. No. Having your own fundamentals is completely different than expecting the market to be a fundamental market. I've always said it's not a fundamental market. I will stick to my guns and I will repeat it a billion times over. It's not a fundamental market, but you have to have your own fundamentals, which is when do you get in, when do you get out, what do you buy into, what do you not buy into, ASAP, and basically your own fundamentals will navigate you through the unfundamental territories in this market, because this market has nothing fundamental with it. You want to understand even more proofs, as much as I've been giving you, watch tomorrow. You'll see the unfundamental world at its finest. But after tomorrow, moving on, I'll cap the video with this. After tomorrow, I'm going to give a window to us for something perhaps crazy to happen, whether more banks to crack or something very, very fascinating for us to happen. I see that happening, and I will open up the window from after tomorrow's report, so toward the end of this week, somewhere around Friday, maybe next week, I would say from next week all the way to the FOMC meeting next in May 2nd. Guess what also happens to flow through that same window that I'm making right there? If you remember a while ago, the Fed members and the Fed have reported that they have made this vow between them and all the major banks and Bank of Canada and Australia and Japan to be there for each other throughout these times, to make sure everything is good, at least until the beginning of May or until the end of April. So what a coincidence that also flows throughout that same window that I'm putting for you, that something could happen to these banks. What some other banks could vaporize, and if they don't, because they step for each other, then it will be immediately, probably right after the FOMC meeting, we will see more banks hurting, and on a bigger scale. What I'm looking for is not the First Republic Bank or the freaking Georgia Bank or whatever. No, I'm looking for the big fish. That's what you got to keep your eye on. I'm looking for the major ones. I'm looking for the JP Morgans, for these Goldmans, because they're backed directly from the feds. They're sponsored directly through them. So we hit them, they're backed by them. We get ours. They're unfortunately gonna get theirs as well. They're gonna get their bailouts. We move on, and everything else happens. Whatever happens to the rest happens to the rest at that point. Keep remembering that this market, it is not a fundamental market. This is a market where the only thing that is fundamental is the thing that you control or hold. Whatever you don't hold, it is not a fundamental thing. It can be vaporized at any given moment. I'll end the video right there. There's a lot more to talk about, guys, but I'll talk about it in more videos, in different videos. So if you have any other questions, if you have anything you would like my opinion or my input on, my 2 cents on, put that in the comment section. Much love, AB Investments.